we've just with some of the features that we've added, so for example, the fact that the player is the President of the United States, you can imagine the kind of fun that we're going to have at the expense of the American president and what that means within the game. So yeah, we've definitely continued that tone throughout the game, and there are points all the time where I'm looking at what the team is doing, and we're constantly laughing at the things that are being added to the game. And humor's always been a big part of Saints Row, at least certainly in our recent Saints Row games, and we're definitely expanding on that for 4.
Yeah, I think one of our key sort of phrases for the way we design both Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4 has been embrace the crazy, fun trumps all, and that sort of explains how we design our games and what we want to bring in our games.
So we have a couple that we've introduced. We have one that we call the Inflato Ray. Yeah. And so that's one where you can shoot an enemy and it literally inflates them. Their eyes pop out and then they explode. And you can kind of feather the trigger, so you can inflate them halfway, let it go, they kind of come back down. People play that thing endlessly. And another one of the ones that we've shown today is the dubstep gun. And so that's one where you have a ton of effects that are coming out while a crazy dubstep sort of song is playing, and you're seeing people react to it. Cars are bouncing, windows are shattering, the people are moving and back and forth through time. It's a completely over-the-top weapon. It's one that everyone that sees it loves it. We've had a ton of fun coming up with these new ideas for these weapons. There's always the decision you have to make at that time and early in the project is, are you going to spend a lot of time doing more new tech and new things that you're going to do for the way that you develop the game, sometimes tools, sometimes the engine, the rendering engine, things like that. Or you can take something that's already there and try to expand on it in new ways and use your expertise and the team's ability to work within that and come up with something new. And that's the one that we chose for Saints Row 4. Our thought was that, with the kinds of games that we have and that we do, we go over the top with them, we have a ton of fun with them, and so what can we do with the same engine and being able to extend it in a way that that we never even thought of doing in the past. And we thought that was ultimately going to create a much better game than, say, for the sake of argument, if we took a step back and tried to redo the rendering engine or something like that. The game might look better, but our feeling is that it wouldn't play better. And that's been the driving philosophy for the Saints Row franchise, really from the beginning, is we want players to go in there and have fun with it. And so that was why we made the decision to just stick with the engine, enhance it in certain areas, which we've certainly done, but primarily try to add things to have fun, because that's why we all play games. So hopefully the fans feel the same way. Enter the Dominatrix for us, we were working on that for a while, and ultimately, as you've heard, right, we ended up incorporating a number of elements into Saints Row 4. But what we've also done, because we liked what we were doing with Enter the Dominatrix so much, we're actually talking about releasing it almost like a director's cut version of it as a future DLC, so people can see what we had in mind with that. But I think people would really enjoy it. It was pretty silly and out there. But what we found was that a lot of the elements we were trying to add into the expansion pack, it's the sort of thing where if we had more time, we know we could do it better and make it feel more interesting and more fun. And so we really enjoyed the opportunity to be able to put it into a full game, so then the team can have the time to make things and take some of these ideas that we had and really extend them and blow them out and make them feel really, really good. And with the time that we had with Enter the Dominatrix, I think it would have been really good, but it wouldn't have been as good, nearly as good as what we've been able to do with a full project.
We took what we felt were the best pieces,
yeah, exactly. That's the way
from the Dominatrix and incorporated those into some parts of what was already being built for Saints Row 4 and said, okay, that's the best from Enter the Dominatrix. Let's take those as our core, expand on that beyond that. So it wasn't like we just took all of Enter the Dominatrix or all of something else. It was pieces of both that kind of ended up becoming Saints Row 4.
Yeah, they were definitely able to be joined pretty seamlessly, and it was really helped out. It wasn't like we tried to force it in or anything like that. It's if anything, some of the things that we were doing in Enter the Dominatrix was going to make it harder for the full game by not having some of those aspects in the game. So it really worked out, I think, for both by doing it that way. I can understand how it looks, prototype-ish, but when you see all the missions and you see the bulk of all of the humor and everything else that's going in, I think you'll understand what we mean. It's a very different game than that. It's just that our ability to be able to add some of these new mechanics into the game was really important to us, because we've identified that the principal things you often do in a Saints Row game is you can drive and you can shoot. And there's a lot more to it than that, of course, but those are the primary mechanics. So being able to introduce these kinds of superpowers like we've done helps provide a lot more choice and a lot more fun into the game, but it's still at the core a Saints Row game.